The one with Joey's Porsche, slow comfort and gentle ego comedy. There is something unusually calming about watching someone chase a dream that never truly matters. In this episode, the story does not rush, it strolls. Joey does not face danger, heartbreak, or life-changing stakes. He simply discovers a Porsche that is not his, and decides to enjoy the feeling of owning it. That is the entire emotional engine of the episode, and strangely, that simplicity becomes deeply soothing. The comedy here is quiet, almost lazy in the best way. Joey, sitting inside the parked car for hours, pretending life has suddenly upgraded, creates a slow rhythm. Nothing explodes, nothing spirals. Even the jokes land softly, like familiar footsteps in a room you know by heart. You are not watching to find out what happens next. You are watching to rest inside the moment. Meanwhile, the other storylines never demand emotional urgency. Conversations flow casually, scenes breathe, and the episode feels wrapped in a soft layer of everyday life. This lack of intensity is exactly what makes the brain relax. There is no tension to resolve, no loud emotional peaks, no chaos pulling your attention. Just Joey, his harmless fantasy, and a world moving at an unhurried pace. Sleep-friendly television often shares one hidden trait: nothing truly changes. By the end, Joey is still Joey. The Porsche was never really his. Life resets gently, like a calm wave returning to the shore. And as the episode fades, your mind follows that same rhythm, slower, softer, quieter, until the story no longer feels like something you are watching, but something you are drifting inside. The one with the stain. Soft domestic chaos that feels safe. Some episodes comfort you not through silence, but through harmless everyday problems that feel small enough to never disturb your peace. This story unfolds inside ordinary spaces, built on simple worries, soft misunderstandings, and gentle embarrassment. Nothing here threatens the world of the characters, and because of that, nothing threatens your calm either. The emotional tone stays low and steady. Rachel's small crisis, centered around a mistake she desperately wants to fix, never becomes heavy. It remains grounded in everyday awkwardness, the kind people laugh about later. The pacing moves gently from one quiet moment to another, allowing scenes to breathe. You are not pulled forward by urgency. You are simply carried along by familiarity. What makes this episode especially soothing is the rhythm of domestic life. Conversations happen in kitchens, apartments, and familiar corners that feel lived in and warm. The humor never spikes into chaos. It glides softly, almost like background conversation in a cozy room. Even when characters worry, their worry feels safe, contained, and temporary. There is also a comforting predictability in how the story resolves. Problems shrink rather than explode. No dramatic twist arrives to shake the calm. Everything slowly returns to balance, like a wrinkle gently smoothed out. That emotional safety allows your mind to loosen its grip, because nothing demands your full attention. This is the quiet magic of low-stakes storytelling. You are not waiting for resolution. You are resting inside the rhythm of ordinary life, where mistakes are small, laughter is soft, and the world never feels loud enough to keep you awake. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We all thank you for your continued support. The one with the birth. Quiet emotional warmth and hospital calm. Some comfort does not come from comedy alone. Sometimes it comes from softness. This episode moves with a gentle emotional heartbeat, wrapped in the stillness of a hospital night where everything feels slower, quieter, almost suspended in time. The world outside disappears, and the story becomes small, contained, and warm. The setting itself plays a powerful role. Hospitals in this episode are not loud or stressful. They feel hushed, calm, almost dreamlike. Voices soften, movements slow. Conversations stretch into long, quiet pauses. Even the humor arrives in whispers rather than bursts, allowing the mind to stay relaxed instead of alert. Nothing rushes forward. The episode breathes. At its center is anticipation, not tension. A new life is about to begin, but the story never turns chaotic. Instead, it unfolds gently through conversations, small emotional realizations, and moments of stillness between the characters. Joey's storyline, filled with tender misunderstanding, adds an innocent, almost childlike softness that keeps the tone warm rather than dramatic. Sleep-friendly storytelling often mirrors the feeling of being safe in a quiet room, and this episode captures exactly that. The emotional stakes are meaningful but never overwhelming. There is no loud conflict, no sharp emotional spike. Just warmth, patience, and a sense that everything is unfolding the way it should. By the time the episode reaches its conclusion, the calm becomes contagious. The quiet joy settles like a soft blanket, wrapping the story in emotional comfort. And as the lights dim within the world of the characters, your mind follows that same gentle rhythm, drifting toward stillness, toward quiet, toward rest. The one with the jam, cozy apartment energy and simple joy. Some stories feel less like television and more like a quiet afternoon spent inside a familiar room. This episode lives entirely in that space. Nothing feels rushed, nothing feels heavy, and everything unfolds with a comforting stillness that mirrors the rhythm of a slow, peaceful day. The warmth comes not from big events, but from small, ordinary moments that feel safe and predictable. Monica's sudden obsession with making jam becomes the soft heartbeat of the episode. It is not dramatic, not urgent, just repetitive, simple, and oddly soothing. The act of stirring, preparing, and focusing on something small creates a calm, emotional loop. You are not watching for excitement. You are watching the comfort of someone finding purpose in something gentle and harmless. The repetition itself becomes relaxing, like a quiet routine before sleep. Around her, the apartment atmosphere carries a lived-in warmth. Conversations drift rather than push forward. Chandler and Joey's storyline unfolds with light, playful humor that never spikes into chaos. Even when emotions appear, they are wrapped in softness, never sharp enough to disturb the calm tone of the episode. The story feels grounded, contained, and emotionally safe. What makes this episode especially sleep-friendly is its simplicity. Nothing life-changing happens. There are no loud confrontations, no dramatic turns. The episode is built on everyday emotions, small hopes, and tiny disappointments that gently resolve themselves. It feels like listening to a quiet story told late at night, where the purpose is not to excite you, but to comfort you. And as Monica keeps stirring, as the apartment hums with soft conversation, the rhythm slows, steady, warm, and peaceful, until the story fades into the same quiet stillness your mind begins to follow. The one with the chickenpox. Soft distance and gentle longing. Not every comforting story is built on closeness. Sometimes, comfort comes from quiet distance, from emotions that remain soft, restrained, and never loud enough to disturb the calm. This episode moves with that delicate emotional tone where love exists, but at a distance, wrapped in patience and quiet humor. Phoebe's reunion with an old flame should feel dramatic, yet the episode chooses gentleness instead. The situation is unusual, even slightly uncomfortable, but the storytelling never rushes or explodes. Scenes unfold slowly, filled with soft pauses, shy glances, and small, awkward moments that feel human rather than chaotic. The humor arrives quietly, never demanding attention, allowing the episode to maintain its calm, steady rhythm. Meanwhile, the other storylines float in and out like background waves, never overpowering the mood. Conversations remain casual, almost sleepy in their pacing. There is no urgency pushing the story forward. Instead, the episode lingers in emotional stillness, letting moments breathe and settle naturally. Even when characters feel frustration, it remains contained, gentle, and temporary. What makes this episode deeply sleep-friendly is its emotional softness. Nothing escalates into chaos. No loud confrontation breaks the calm. The story is built on waiting, patience, and quiet connection. That emotional restraint creates a soothing atmosphere where your mind does not feel the need to stay alert. By the end, the story resolves not with intensity, but with quiet acceptance. Feelings settle, tension dissolves, and everything returns to a soft emotional balance. And as the characters drift back into their familiar world, your mind mirrors that same motion, slower, softer, calmer, gently moving toward rest. The one with the ballroom dancing. Calm repetition and hypnotic rhythm. Some episodes soothe not through silence, but through rhythm. This story moves like a slow dance, repeating gentle patterns that feel almost hypnotic. Nothing here feels urgent. Nothing feels heavy. The episode glides forward with a smooth, steady flow that quietly relaxes the mind. Joey's unexpected world of ballroom dancing becomes the emotional center, and what makes it comforting is its repetition. Step, pause, turn, repeat. The structure of dance itself creates a calming pattern, something predictable and soft. You are not watching for suspense. You are watching movement that feels controlled, contained, and strangely peaceful. Even the humor stays light, floating gently instead of landing loudly. At the same time, the other storylines never disrupt this calm rhythm. Scenes transition smoothly, conversations unfold at an easy pace, and the episode never raises its emotional volume. The characters move through familiar spaces, speaking in tones that feel warm and steady. There is no chaos pulling you awake, no dramatic spike demanding attention, just a quiet flow carrying the story forward. Sleep-friendly storytelling often mirrors repetition. The same comfort, the same rhythm, the same emotional safety. This episode captures that perfectly. The dance becomes more than a plot point. It becomes a calming loop, something the mind can follow without effort. Predictability replaces tension, and softness replaces urgency. By the time the music fades, the rhythm has already settled into you. The steady motion, the gentle pacing, the quiet humor. All of it slows the mind, softens awareness, and pulls you gently toward stillness, like the final slow step of a dance that ends not with applause, but with silence. The one with the tea leaves. Gentle conversations and soothing flow. Not every calming story depends on silence. Some depend on softness. This episode unfolds like a quiet conversation late in the evening, where nothing feels urgent and everything moves at an easy, unhurried pace. The story does not push forward. It simply drifts, and that drifting becomes its greatest comfort. Phoebe's belief in the tea leaves introduces a gentle layer of curiosity rather than tension. There is no real danger, no high emotional stakes, just small interpretations and playful uncertainty. The tone remains light, almost dreamy, as if the episode itself is floating between reality and imagination. Even the humor arrives softly, never loud enough to pull you fully awake, just enough to keep a faint smile resting in the background. What makes this episode especially soothing is its conversational rhythm. Much of the story unfolds through relaxed dialogue rather than action. Characters sit, talk, reflect, and gently react. The pacing allows pauses, and those pauses create calm. Nothing rushes, nothing explodes. The story feels like background warmth rather than something demanding focus. There is also a comforting predictability in how everything resolves. The mystery of the tea leaves never becomes heavy. It remains playful, harmless, and contained within the gentle world of the characters. Emotional tension never rises high enough to disturb the calm atmosphere. And as the conversations fade, as the curiosity dissolves into quiet acceptance, the episode leaves behind a soft stillness. The voices grow distant, the rhythm slows, and your mind begins to mirror that same gentle drift, settling into a peaceful calm where thoughts grow lighter and rest comes naturally. The one with the cooking class. Soft failure and gentle triumph. Comfort does not always come from perfection. Sometimes, it comes from watching small struggles unfold without pressure, without urgency, and without fear of real loss. This episode carries that feeling from beginning to end, moving gently through embarrassment, determination, and quiet victory, never once disturbing the calm emotional tone. Monica's journey through the cooking class is not dramatic. It is simple, contained, and almost soothing in its repetition. She tries, she fails, she tries again. The stakes remain small, personal, and safe. Even when frustration appears, it never grows loud or chaotic. The story keeps its soft rhythm, allowing moments to breathe rather than rush forward. Watching effort unfold slowly without pressure creates a strangely relaxing experience. The humor in this episode flows gently, woven into conversations and small reactions rather than explosive moments. Scenes transition smoothly, and the familiar spaces feel warm and grounded. Nothing pulls your attention sharply. Instead, the story invites you to settle into its quiet pace, where emotions remain steady and predictable. What makes this episode especially sleep-friendly is its emotional safety. Failure is temporary, success is gentle, and nothing changes the world of the characters in a dramatic way. The story resolves softly, like a small knot slowly untangling. That calm resolution signals to the mind that there is nothing to worry about, nothing to anticipate. By the time the episode closes, the quiet triumph feels less like excitement and more like peace. The effort fades, the tension dissolves, and the gentle rhythm remains, guiding your thoughts into softness, into stillness, into the quiet comfort where rest begins. The one with the sharks. Strange calm and quiet domesticity. Sometimes comfort comes from the unusual, when a story feels odd yet never unsettling. This episode carries a soft, almost sleepy strangeness, wrapped in domestic stillness and gentle misunderstanding. Nothing here feels urgent. Nothing feels loud. The story moves quietly, like late-night conversation drifting through a half-lit room. Phoebe's confusion about Mike introduces a situation that could easily become chaotic, yet the episode never allows that. Instead, it leans into calm awkwardness, soft reactions, and restrained humor. The comedy remains subtle, carried by tone rather than noise. Even when the misunderstanding deepens, it never creates tension strong enough to disturb the peaceful rhythm. The episode chooses softness over shock. Meanwhile, the domestic atmosphere plays a powerful role. Much of the story unfolds in familiar, quiet spaces where conversations feel warm and contained. Characters speak gently, moments linger longer than usual, and the pacing never rushes forward. The episode almost feels like background life unfolding slowly, something you can watch without effort, without alertness. What makes this episode especially sleep-friendly is its emotional steadiness. There are no loud confrontations, no dramatic spikes, no urgency pulling the story into chaos. Even the strange premise settles into calm, turning unusual confusion into quiet comfort. Everything remains safe, predictable, and emotionally contained. By the end, the misunderstanding dissolves softly, like a ripple fading on still water. Nothing explodes. Nothing changes dramatically. The world of the characters returns to gentle balance. And as the episode fades into silence, your mind mirrors that same motion. Slower, softer, quieter, drifting into the calm where thought loosens and rest begins. the one with the pediatrician. Warm group energy and light stakes. There is a special kind of comfort that comes from togetherness, from watching familiar people exist in a space where nothing truly threatens their peace. This episode carries that warmth from beginning to end, built on small concerns, soft humor, and the gentle rhythm of everyday life. Nothing feels heavy, nothing feels urgent, and that emotional lightness creates a calm, steady flow. The central situation revolves around a simple, almost ordinary problem, yet the storytelling never pushes it into drama. Instead, it unfolds through relaxed conversations, mild misunderstandings, and quiet reactions. Even when characters worry, their worry feels temporary and contained, never loud enough to disturb the soothing tone. The humor stays warm and subtle, resting softly within the dialogue rather than bursting into chaos. What makes this episode especially calming is the group dynamic. Scenes often hold multiple characters together, sharing space, exchanging thoughts, and moving through moments collectively. That shared energy feels safe and familiar, like sitting in a room where gentle conversation hums in the background. The pacing remains smooth, allowing scenes to breathe rather than rush forward. There is also a comforting predictability in how everything resolves. Problems shrink instead of growing. Emotions settle instead of rising. Nothing dramatic changes the world of the characters, and that stability allows the mind to relax, knowing there is no sudden twist waiting ahead. By the time the episode closes, the warmth lingers. The soft humor, the gentle togetherness, the steady rhythm, all of it creates a quiet emotional balance, guiding your thoughts into calm, into stillness, into the peaceful comfort where rest slowly takes over. The One with Christmas in Tulsa. Quiet distance and late-night reflection. Some episodes feel like a whisper instead of a story. This one unfolds with a soft, reflective tone, wrapped in distance, memory, and quiet realization. The pace is slower, almost dreamlike, as if the episode itself exists in the stillness of a late night when the world has already fallen silent. Chandler's time away creates a feeling of gentle separation rather than tension. The story moves through memories, thoughts, and small emotional shifts, never rushing, never rising into chaos. Even the humor feels softer here, less about loud laughter and more about familiar warmth. Scenes drift between present and reflection, giving the episode a calm, floating rhythm that soothes rather than stimulates. The atmosphere plays a powerful role. Offices feel quiet, rooms feel still, and conversations carry a softness that mirrors late-night thinking. Nothing feels urgent, nothing demands full attention. The episode allows moments to linger, creating emotional space where the mind can relax instead of stay alert. Even the theme of distance feels comforting rather than lonely, wrapped in warmth and familiarity. Sleep-friendly storytelling often carries a reflective quality, and this episode embraces that fully. Emotions are gentle, resolutions are soft, and nothing explodes into dramatic confrontation. Instead, everything settles quietly, like snow falling without sound. By the time the story reaches its end, the stillness has already taken hold. Reflection turns into calm, distance turns into warmth, and the quiet rhythm of the episode begins to mirror your own slowing thoughts, guiding you gently toward rest, toward silence, toward sleep. The One with the Home Study. Gentle resolution and emotional safety. Some stories do not calm you with silence or humor alone. They calm you with reassurance. This episode moves with a soft emotional steadiness, where uncertainty exists, but never grows strong enough to disturb the peace. From beginning to end, the tone remains warm, safe, and quietly comforting. Monica and Chandler's journey through the home study could easily feel stressful, yet the episode keeps everything grounded and gentle. Their worries remain soft, their reactions restrained, and even their fears feel temporary. Nothing spirals into chaos. Instead, the story unfolds patiently, allowing emotions to breathe and settle naturally. Watching them hope, adjust, and gently move forward creates a calming emotional rhythm. The atmosphere throughout the episode feels steady and familiar. Conversations happen in warm, lived-in spaces where nothing feels threatening. Humor arrives quietly, woven into small moments rather than loud bursts. Even when tension appears, it never rises sharply. The story holds a sense of emotional safety, as if nothing truly bad can happen within this world. What makes this episode especially sleep-friendly is its resolution. Problems do not explode, they dissolve. Uncertainty slowly turns into reassurance. The emotional journey ends not with excitement, but with calm acceptance. That gentle closure signals to the mind that everything is safe, everything is settled. And as the episode fades, the reassurance lingers. The warmth, the quiet hope, the steady calm. All of it softens the mind, slows the rhythm of thought, and guides you gently into stillness, where the story ends and rest quietly begins. As the lights dim and the voices soften, these quiet stories stop feeling like episodes and start feeling like comfort. Nothing loud, nothing urgent, nothing to hold on to. Just warmth, familiarity, and gentle calm. The perfect rhythm to slowly drift into sleep. If you enjoyed watching, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and drop us a note in the comments letting us know what you want to see us do next.